Hello. Whilst the blues hour is uploading for tonight, 6:30 folks, just seemed appropriate to do this since some of this has been in my set for a very, very long time. You will not walk again by Seventide, nor see a distant silver in the sun. You will not dream again on the slat hillside, above the inns where Cotswold lads have fun. You will not know again the joys of home, the loving welcome and the warmth of kin. You will not see the black-edged letter come to break the heart he was most cherished in. Once again he saw in memory the spire of the hill, the hamlet and the wood, and wise old rooks of Cotswold ancestry come strutting by as if they understood. And through the fields where all the wild things go, he saw the spring rise clean above the clay, and with the water felt his spirits flow out of the hills to where his longing lay. Remembered meadows filled with breeze, he felt the brook beneath him, heard it sing, past unfrequented places, and from these some power bore him and his life took wing. He died, he wore, men forget his name, all that he was is vanished into night. The brook still flows, newborn and yet still the same, out of the womb of Cotswold into the light. He died, he wore, men forget his name, all that he was is vanished into night. The brook still flows, newborn and yet still the same, out of the womb of Cotswold to the lights. So my paternal grandfather survived the First World War, although his ship was sunk, in fact, and he was a fairly dramatic Atlantic rescue at some point in time, but he was a merchant sailor. My great-uncle Percy, though, was not so lucky, and so the house that I was born in is only 400 yards from the house that my father was born in, and in fact I just noticed, the thing that prompted all this was the fact that they're called Sentries cottages, and one of them is in fact for sale again. They're lovely little farm-type cottages, but yeah, that's where my grandfather was born, and so he was away getting sunk. But Percy, his brother, my great uncle, he was actually home on leave 3 days before the start of the Battle of the Somme. And so the story that's told is that a good Methodist family, of course, they were singing hymns around the harmonium and so on. And I remember that harmonium in a very sorry state. Later on, being up at the house I was born in, the hospital house, it was out the back there. I don't think my father had the will to get it fixed or anything like that, but nevertheless that was the harmonium, and it was a sort of, I think we just used to toddle out there and look at it. Anyway, so Percy died the third day into the Battle of the Somme. He went back on the eve, got the train, and returned to Portsmouth, and so on, and that was it for him. So that's kind of what prompted all this thinking. Here's a little tale on a slightly lighter note. My grandfather Norman Tonkin on my mum's side, he was at the Dardanelles, and so he survived. He never talked about it, just like most of the old boys. But there was one thing that was always proudly related. He was a barber by trade, and he was very entrepreneurial. At 16 years of age, as soon as he'd got his thing, he didn't see any sense in hanging around in boring old Falmouth anymore, so he and his mate emigrated to Toronto, where they started a barber's business. I'm gradually working on the business of tracking it down and finding out more about it. Tonkin and somebody. Anyway, so First World War was declared, and they looked at each other and came back to, inverted commas, do their duty. So, in the Dardanelles, he got the tip of that finger. I think a piece of shrapnel came whizzing by, and that the top of that finger was blown off. So, relatively minor injury. But apparently what happened was, in the field hospital, just to avoid the possibility that, something horrible or gangrene might set in, because they were just say, right, we'll have that finger off, and he absolutely put his foot down and refused. I'm a barber by trade, my lover, and if I lose that finger, that's going to be a right pain. So he absolutely refused to allow them to do it. So they kind of put a bandage on it, and that was it. So, that's the lighter side of it all. Not much to be light about, but hey, there you go, dear old Norman. When this bloody war is over, oh, how happy I shall be when I get my Sunday clothes on. No more soldiering for me. No more church parades sergeant major. Thought for today.